Write the introduction to an essay on the unintelligibility of curiosity, incorporating insights from cognitive load theory and Schmidt-Huber.
In the vast and intricate tapestry of human cognition, curiosity stands out as a pivotal thread that compels us to explore, discover, and expand the boundaries of our knowledge. This essay delves into the enigmatic nature of curiosity, framing its often unintelligible qualities through the lens of cognitive load theory and the insights of Jürgen Schmidhuber. Cognitive load theory, which examines the impact of informational complexity on learning and problem solving, provides a foundation for understanding how curiosity can both facilitate and hinder cognitive processes. Simultaneously, Schmidhuber's theory of curiosity, as driven by the pursuit of novel patterns that promise to be compressible, offers a complementary perspective, suggesting that curiosity is an evolutionary mechanism designed to enhance learning efficiency. The exploration begins with a discussion of cognitive load theory, which posits that human memory is constrained by the amount of information it can process simultaneously. This limitation becomes crucial when considering the role of curiosity, which inherently seeks to acquire new information. The challenge then is to reconcile how the mind manages this influx of new data without overwhelming its cognitive capacities. By examining the types of cognitive load, intrinsic, extraneous, and germane, we can discern how curiosity must be optimally stimulated to promote learning without exceeding these cognitive boundaries. Schmidhuber's framework introduces a further dimension to this discussion by suggesting that curiosity is not merely a passive state of wonder, but an active pursuit of novel stimuli that the brain predicts it can compress into coherent patterns. According to Schmidhuber, this compression is satisfying because it represents an increase in the individual's ability to predict and control their environment, thus reducing future cognitive loads. Integrating these two perspectives, this essay argues that the intelligibility of curiosity, its ability to be understood and anticipated in cognitive terms, lies in its dual role as both seeker and filter. Through this dual role, curiosity drives us toward complexity and novelty, while simultaneously equipping us with the means to assimilate and streamline the new information, thus maintaining cognitive equilibrium. By tracing the interplay between cognitive load and the predictive nature of curiosity, we gain a deeper appreciation for its complex, sometimes paradoxical character. This exploration not only enriches our understanding of curiosity itself, but also illuminates broader cognitive processes that underpin learning and creativity.
Give some examples of how compression reduces surprise. The concept of compression reducing surprise, as explored by Jürgen Schmidt-Huber and others, highlights the way our brains manage and anticipate information to streamline cognitive processes and reduce cognitive load. Here are a few examples that illustrate how compression reduces surprise.
Manage and anticipate information to streamline cognitive processes and reduce cognitive load. Here are a few examples that illustrate how compression reduces surprise. 1. Pattern recognition in learning. Example: when learning a new language, initially, each word and grammatical structure is a separate piece of information which can be overwhelming. Over time, as one recognizes patterns in grammar and vocabulary, these individual pieces of information are compressed into more general rules and structures. This compression reduces the surprise when encountering new sentences because they fit into previously learned patterns. The learner is no longer surprised by basic sentence structures and can focus on understanding new words or complex expressions. 2. Predictive coding and visual perception. Example: the brain uses past visual data to predict what it will see, which is why we are rarely surprised by everyday sights. For instance, when walking in a familiar neighborhood, the brain compresses information about the environment into a predictive model. If something unexpected, like a new building, appears, it momentarily increases cognitive load and surprise. Once the brain incorporates this new information into its model, the surprise decreases, and future encounters with this building will not provoke the same surprise. 3. Music and rhythm prediction. Example: listening to music involves predictive processing, where the brain anticipates the next note based on the pattern of previous notes. When a piece of music follows a predictable pattern, the listener's brain compresses these patterns, reducing surprise. However, a sudden change in rhythm or key can be surprising. Once the listener becomes accustomed to the new pattern, the brain compresses this information, reducing the element of surprise in subsequent listenings. 4. Expertise in specific domains. Example, an expert chess player compresses numerous possible moves and strategies into a structured understanding of the game. This compression allows the expert to anticipate an opponent's moves and strategize effectively without being surprised by common tactics. Their extensive experience has led to a compression of knowledge, making what would be complex and surprising to a novice much more predictable to the expert. 5. Emotional regulation. Example, through experiences, individuals learn to anticipate and regulate emotional responses. For instance, someone who has frequently presented in public may compress their initial anxiety into a routine where they know what to expect and how they will feel. This reduces the surprise of nervousness, making the situation more manageable as they apply known coping mechanisms. In each of these examples, compression acts as a cognitive mechanism that reduces surprise by enabling the brain to predict and efficiently process incoming information, thereby minimizing the cognitive load associated with new or complex stimuli. This predictive ability not only makes experiences more manageable, but also allows for more effective and focused cognitive processing.
I just meant that curiosity is unintelligible because it can appear random and indirect to an outside observer, in the Bayesian brain hypothesis and holonomic cognition.
Ah, I see. When discussing the unintelligibility of curiosity from the standpoint of the Bayesian brain hypothesis and holonomic brain theory, the notion shifts to focus on how curiosity, despite being a fundamental cognitive process, can seem chaotic or inexplicably varied to an outside observer. This perception stems from the inherent complexity and individual variability in how curiosity is directed and processed in the brain. Let's delve into these two frameworks to better understand this concept. Bayesian brain hypothesis. The Bayesian brain hypothesis posits that the brain continuously updates its model of the world by processing new sensory information through the lens of prior beliefs or knowledge in a probabilistic framework. Here's how this relates to the seeming randomness of curiosity. Predictive processing and curiosity. Curiosity often drives the acquisition of data that can refine or challenge the brain's existing models. This process can appear random when the observer is not privy to the internal models and predictions driving the behavior. For example, a person might explore seemingly unrelated topics, but from the Bayesian perspective, each piece of information is potentially a key data point for updating their internal model about a broader concept or question. Unexpected information seeking. Curiosity is often piqued by anomalies or data that do not fit expected patterns, as per the Bayesian approach. This pursuit might seem illogical or random to an outside observer, especially if the relevance of the information to the existing mental model is unclear. Holonomic brain theory. Holonomic brain theory, inspired by holographic principles, suggests that memory and cognition involve patterns that are distributed across the brain rather than stored at discrete locations. Here's how this impacts our understanding of curiosity. Global processing. Curiosity driven by holonomic principles can lead to exploratory behaviors that are holistic rather than linear or easily predictable. For example, engaging with a piece of art may trigger a complex, distributed set of cognitive activations that explore emotional, aesthetic, and symbolic content simultaneously. Interconnected learning. Because information is processed in a distributed and interconnected manner, curiosity can lead an individual to draw on widely disparate pieces of information that seem unrelated at the surface level. The connections made within the individual's cognitive structure are not always apparent to outside observers, making their exploratory path appear random or unintelligible. Conclusion. In the context of these theories, curiosity's path can indeed appear undirected or random. It is influenced by deep and often non-transparent cognitive processes that balance prior knowledge with new, sometimes conflicting information. These theories illuminate why the triggers and directions of curiosity are not always clear to external observers, reflecting the complex and personalized way each brain perceives, learns from, and interacts with the world. This complexity, while it may obscure the underlying rationality of curious behaviors, underscores the sophistication of cognitive systems in their quest to adapt and understand ever changing environments.
I titled the conversation Intrapersonal Domain Knowledge. Could I get a narrative summary?
Certainly. In this conversation, we've explored the theme of curiosity, particularly focusing on its complex and sometimes seemingly random nature as viewed through advanced cognitive theories. The discussion began with a request to write an introduction to an essay on the unintelligibility of curiosity, linking it with cognitive load theory and the insights of Jürgen Schmidhuber. I provided an introduction that considered how curiosity interacts with cognitive processes, enhancing our understanding while simultaneously managing cognitive load. Following that, you clarified that the interest was in discussing how curiosity, while crucial to cognitive processes, can appear random and undirected to an outside observer, specifically within the frameworks of the Bayesian brain hypothesis and holonomic brain theory. I then elaborated on how these theories explain the seemingly unintelligible nature of curiosity. According to the Bayesian brain hypothesis, curiosity is driven by a probabilistic updating of the brain's model of the world, which may seem random without knowledge of the underlying mental models. The holonomic brain theory suggests that curiosity involves global, interconnected patterns of cognition that do not easily map to linear or predictable paths, contributing to its perception as random or scattered. This conversation has navigated through intricate cognitive theories to better understand the nuanced and often opaque mechanisms of curiosity, highlighting the sophisticated interplay between acquiring new knowledge and integrating it within existing cognitive frameworks.
More critical and quirky.
Certainly. Let's give this narrative summary a more critical and quirky twist. In today's chat, we've waded through the murky waters of curiosity, examining its baffling behavior through some heavyweight cognitive theories. Initially, you asked for an intro to an essay on the unintelligibility of curiosity, aiming to mesh it with cognitive load theory and Jürgen Schmidhuber's insights. I rolled up my sleeves and crafted an intro that framed curiosity as a brainy acrobat, skillfully balancing between enhancing our knowledge and not overloading our mental circuits. But then, plot twist, you mentioned your real intrigue was with curiosity's seemingly random wanderings, especially from the perspective of the Bayesian brain hypothesis and holonomic brain theory. I dove back in, detailing how these theories suggest curiosity is like a secret agent in a thriller, navigating a landscape riddled with information and noise, making moves that might seem haphazard to the untrained eye, but are actually part of a complex strategy. We've dissected curiosity's capricious antics and how, under the guise of randomness, it's actually on a covert mission to update and refine the brain's understanding of the world. The Bayesian approach shows us a brain behaving like a bet-placing enthusiast in a casino of experiences, while the holonomic theory paints a picture of a brain weaving a vast, interconnected web of knowledge threads. Both theories depict a curiosity that's anything but straightforward, often leaving onlookers scratching their heads at its puzzling path. Through this chat, we've not just untangled, but reveled in the delightful complexity of curiosity, appreciating its role in keeping the cogs of our cognitive machinery both mystifying and magnificently efficient.